Children use gestures much before they use words to communicate. You might have seen a child waving hands for hi or bye, or pointing or pushing away things if they don't want them. All these are different gestures children exhibit. Gestures are one of the most important precursors of language acquisition. Among the gestures, pointing is a very important milestone in a child's language and communication. Hey there, welcome back to my social media platform, TheHappySLP. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, my name is Elsa Abraham and I'm an audiologist and a speech language pathologist from India. I create videos to raise public awareness about speech, language, hearing and swallowing issues. In today's video, let us look into 4 aspects of pointing. The importance of pointing and the different types. What is the average age for mastery? What is the indication if a child is not pointing? And finally, how can you get your kids to point? Pointing is much more than just one of those cute things that babies do. It marks a huge milestone in a child's development. It expresses communicative intent and promotes requesting joint attention and receptive language skills. So let us look, why do young kids point? A baby who points indicates that they have learned certain social and communication skills. It demonstrates how the child can use his small finger to draw attention to himself, convey a message, and attempt to sway someone's actions or reactions toward whatever it is he is pointing at. Let me tell you, this is some seriously difficult stuff. Babies point mostly for the following 2 reasons. First, to ask for something. For instance, babies will occasionally point to a toy they can't reach or for more cookies. This kind of pointing is called imperative pointing. So the second one is to attract someone's attention. For instance, infants will occasionally point toward an interesting object or a stranger who just walked into the room. This is called declarative pointing, to make you aware of something or someone that they are interested in. So pointing has been linked to language development. According to research, a child's later language skills improve the more they make while they are young. However, not all pointing is created equal. A recent study found that the children who pointed with their index finger instead of their entire hand at the age of 12 months had stronger language skills by the age of 24 months. Because these results were so strong, the researchers think the toddler's index fingers could be used to check for language delays. So now let us look on to when do infants start to point. Infants begin to point between 7 and 15 months of age. First, babies point using the whole hand, but about 3 months later, they start to extend the index finger to point. Index finger pointing seems to be an important milestone in communicative and social cognitive development. Pointing may emerge differently in children with developmental delays due to delayed development of motor skills, for example, sitting, eye-hand coordination, delayed hand skills. And it is difficult to imitate gestures if a child is having poor vision or delays in joint attention or sharing attention with others. If your child is having difficulty pointing, they may use their whole hand to point or use their eyes to show you the things of interest, and they may physically take you to the objects and they do not use it to communicate but only use it for what they want. So when you should be concerned about the development and use of pointing. Each baby's development varies. However, you will typically see pointing develop between 7 and 15 months of age. So if your baby is not able to do the following by 18 months, seek out professional help. Finally, let us see different ways to develop pointing. So one of the best ways to encourage pointing is to make a point of pointing yourself. So babies start to understand what pointing is all about when their parents and caregivers point to things during everyday life. At first, you can make it easier for a baby by pointing to the things that are close by, like an interesting toy that is near where you're playing together, or a motivating snack that is just slightly out of reach. Then later, you can try pointing to the things that are a little farther away, such as something across the room. Pointing is one of those exciting firsts that delights parents. It provides a window into what the child is thinking and gives us a new way to communicate with baby before the words come. This huge milestone shows us that a baby is on the right track to developing. These 3 quick tips will help you. The first one, tell them. Tell, show mommy what you want, point. And the second, show them, model the pointing. and then finally help them in forming a pointing hand with their fingers. When you help them, always ask your child if it's okay to help them or assist. So if your child refuses, please respect their voice and opinion and do not force them. Film a video of you pointing or a sister or a brother and then show them. So I hope these 3 tips all of you will remember. Tell them, show them and help them. And let us see more into it. Model pointing. Use pointing in front of the child. It is best to model how and when to point. This must be done in front of the child as often as possible in meaningful situations. For instance, when you want to request something from the child, point toward what is wanted. When you are showing a child a toy to play with, point to it. When you are talking about a person the child is supposed to go see, point to them, and so on. The child should see the gesture being used repeatedly, and this is important. Many children learn well by seeing and imitating a skill. Second point is shaping pointing. When a child is pointing by using his or her whole body, whole hand, or by looking, then the index finger pointing should be shaped. An adult will help the child by raising the arm and pointing with the index finger towards what is needed, wanted, or requested. Once again, this must be done often. It is best to begin this for request by the child. Such as if the child wants a biscuit, assist him to point at it, shaped by the adult. Encourage index finger pointing through games and rhymes. Simple yet fun games and rhymes can be played with the child to encourage the use of the index finger, and this can later be used for the skill of pointing. My favorite rhyme to teach pointing is One Little Finger, and I'm sure many of you would know this song. Let me just show you how to demonstrate pointing with this rhyme. So you can hold the baby's arms if they're allowing, and then you can hold their hands like this so that the index finger would be separated out, and then you can continue to do this rhyme. Like I've said, if they don't want you to help them, you can do it in front of them and eventually they might try to imitate you. So the rhyme goes like this. One little finger, one little finger, one little finger, tap, 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 tap. Point your finger up, point your finger down, point it on your ear. Wow, good job. Let's do it again. One little finger, one little finger, one little finger, tap, tap, tap. One little finger, one little finger, one little finger, tap, tap, tap. Point your finger up, point your finger down, point it on your eyes. Wow, good job. So these rhymes we can continue to sing along to show the body parts or different objects. So anything we are asking them to point with it. So in the initial stages we can help them by shaping the hands so that they can point. But if they're not allowing, like I said before, you can continue to do it in front of them, so eventually they'll try to imitate. So this is really a fun song and I'm sure your toddlers would love it too. And there are a few other games which you can initiate with them, like pointing to name body parts or different colors or things like that in the home. And you can also make them to pop the bubbles by popping again with the index finger. And you can do finger painting using the index finger and using cause effect toys such as like if you press the piano key or the button of pop-up toys, etc. So when you ask them to point with the index finger, it would again help them to have a hand coordination. So allow the child to make choices. So this is a great way to get a child to proactively practice pointing. Let the child choose from the 2 items. Use this as an opportunity to let the child reach out for what he or she wants. Show the child how to point by modeling the pointing, and then get the child to point, shape an index finger pointing. So whatever the child requests items, use them as opportunity for the child to make choices between the items. And another one is reinforcing the right behavior quickly. A child requests reinforcements to use the skill well. It is helpful if the adults get excited every time the child attempts pointing. Small successes requires reinforcement. It is also essential to reinforce the child on time. And this means that when a child points or attempts to point, the child should be reinforced with his request quickly. Too much time between the 2 may lead to the child not understanding that he is being reinforced for the gesture. Sixth one, diverting emotional responses to meaningful gesture. The emotional responses of a child should be turned into meaningful communication, such as pointing. Pointing is one of the quickest ways to get a child to communicate a request or a desire. When there is a communication breakdown and therefore an emotional response such as crying or shouting, assist the child by pointing to what the child is requesting. So this is a means to get communication started. Thereafter, the adult can respond meaningfully to the communication. If you're concerned that your child hasn't started pointing yet, talk to your pediatrician or a speech language pathologist. And I believe I was able to provide you with some information, and that's the whole point of this video. So in my next video, I'll be back with more tips to improve your child's speech and language skills. So if you think this video was helpful, leave a like, and this will help my channel tremendously. And if you want to keep continuing to learn more about the related content, feel free to check out the playlist or check out the videos up there. Furthermore, consider subscribing so that you will not miss future videos. So you can always contact me, TheHappySLP, either by comments or through my social media accounts, Facebook or Instagram, regarding your concerns and queries regarding speech, language, hearing and swallowing issues. The links are given below in the description, and I will try my best to help you. So until we meet again in another video, stay happy and much love. Hannah, the Happy SLP.